you work in the coal mines at all when you were young?
No, I didn't work in the coal mine. I was out working on the coal banks.
Well, tell him about your father, how he got the name of Skeeter.
Well, I got me and a buddy of mine used to go out and pick up fine coal. It's called buckwheat, and we'd have to get about 2 tons of it to get about $3 or $4.
How long did it take you to do that?
A couple of weeks.
Oh, a couple of weeks.
Well, my mother said where we lived, we had a railroad, and times were hard. When the coal truck would go by, they would push some of it off so the people could get it. Isn't that amazing?
But then we're getting back to...
Well, that's what we used to do for a potato roast when we were kids.
Oh.
The grocery store had a big wooden barrel with a big, this big around and about this high. And that's how they used to ship potatoes in them days. And he would have that barrel outside the front door of the store. And me and my buddies would get together. And we would be down in the alleyway hollering up to these guys, calling them nicknames and stuff like that. They'd be throwing potatoes at us. And we'd be catching the potatoes.
That's funny.
They wanted the potatoes. And then we had enough. We'd stop it, go up the hill, make a fire, and have roast potatoes every night. Get a potato roast every night.
You were saying Skeeter, how you got your name, or your grandfather?
Oh, your father, how your father got the name of Skeeter, what he did.
He was 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he was working in the coal mine.
He would pick it up.
But he got started on working on the product that came out of the mine. And they used to have banks of stuff like, as you see these big dirt banks along the road. Well, they would have big banks of coal and slate and everything mixed. And it'd be twice the size of that. And he was to go around, he was what they called a slate picker. He had to go up there on the bank and run around and pick up the bad coal that wouldn't burn. That was called slate. It wasn't processed yet through nature, you know what I mean? And it wasn't coal yet. So he'd have to pick that up, and he would pick it up and throw it on a separate pile, a small pile over there. And then they would have a truck come up after he got that much of it and haul it away. And they'd always say, look at him. He's running around up there flying around up there like a mosquito. Look at him. That's why he got the name Skeeter.
Yeah.
How old was he when he went into the mines?
Pardon?
No.
Then he went into the mines, yeah.
How old did you have to be?
Oh, I don't know how old. They didn't care about how old you were.
As long as you
weren't scared to go down in there, that was it. You stayed in the mines.
Well, where we lived, our house was here. And see where their house was, there was a mines real close to us. Yeah.
That was upstate?
Yeah.
But we had men that couldn't get a job and stuff like that. The jobs were tough.
Times, yeah.
2 guys would get together and they would dig a hole. Half the size of this table. Like it'd be about this wide, but half. And they would dig and go straight down, and as they went down further, they would cut trees, and they would put the trunk of the tree in each corner, and nail boards on it so it wouldn't cave in on them. And they'd go down maybe 50, 60 feet.
For what?
By hand?
Get coal.
Yeah.
They would dig coal.
And where was it?
And then,
yeah.
Where was it?
Upstate.
Tombola, was it?
Yeah. And what they would have, had what they called a windlass. It was a windlass. It was a big tree branch about that big around. I'd say about 6 to 8 inches around. And they would cut it off 3 feet. They put a hole through it with a piece of pipe. And then they would make a thing to lay it on, so it would be like a winch, and they put a handle on it to crank it up. And they had rope, and they would have maybe like a 25-gallon bucket. A tin bucket would be about that big around, but it'd be about that high. And they would send that bucket down. One guy would be down there digging, the other guy would be up on top. And when the guy down the bottom would fill the bucket up, he would yank the rope. The guy up above would start cranking until he got it up. Then he'd take the side and dump it over on the side. Send a bucket down
And
there.
they sell the coal?
Well, yeah.
They
They
kept
sell the
it for
coal.
themselves,
They
so
kept it.
too. Yeah.
Coal was selling for like different size coal. They were selling for anything up to about $6 a ton.
Which
That was
good
a
money.
hell of a lot of work to get a ton of coal
Yeah.
for what money you got. You didn't get much money at all.
How did grandfather get started in business?
Oh.
How'd they get the stores?
I don't know how they
How'd
got
they
the
get the
stores.
stores?
How did your dad get the stores? The shoe stores they had first, then they had...
Well, he wanted to be in business. He didn't believe in work for somebody else.
He even had a gas station in Chester for a while.
Oh,
Two
yeah.
gas stations.
Two.
One on 2nd and Flower and one on 15th Street where the...
I remember the 15th Street.
15th
Well, that
Providence.
was before your time, that you were...
That was that was after the war. Well, they were both after the war.
Now.
When
He
did
had
he
the
get
one on
married?
15th and Providence first.
Oh, that one
No,
was
I
first.
thought
No,
he
yeah.
had the
No.
opposite. I thought he had that. Oh, I see.
It was after the war when you were working up in Swarthmore,
Yeah,
and he had a station at 15th and Providence,
yeah.
and I'd go and pick you up in the telephone in Swarthmore.
That's where Widener is. It's
Yeah,
across the street
yeah,
from the
yeah.
church.
It was right on the
The
corner.
church was on the corner.
It was right
Church
at-
was on the one corner. The car dealership used to be there. Then your gas station was over there.
Well, there was a Sunoco gas station right across the street. But behind, in other words, you had street coming this way, street coming this way, and a street coming this way. Well, the church was here,
Right.
and in this angle here
Right.
was a Sunoco station and Luke Motors.
Right, Luke Motors, right.
Then over here was
It's the
Providence
gas
Road,
station,
and
yeah.
here was the gas station,
Right.
United.
I remember you taking me in there when I was little. Now, I don't know if he still had the store then.
Oh, no,
No.
just the gas station.
But you were telling, or somebody was saying, Grandpa used to own that. Or, you know.
On the station.
Yeah.
He run the station.
Yeah. And he never owned it. He just rented it.
He rented it. And at that time, that was back in the late 40s. After the war, 45, 46, 47, 48.
And was he a mechanic, or did he just pump gas, or
He
both?
pumped gas. I fixed 30 flat tires one day on a Saturday. 30 flat tires by hand.
That's with the tubes, right?
That's with the tubes, yeah.
Wow.
Take them apart, patch it up, put it together again with a hammer and two tire irons.
So you got pretty good at it, I guess, eventually.
Oh, man.
Hard work, but you got good at
I
it.
used to knock them out like nothing.
Yeah.
But
Then he went over to 2nd and where?
second and Flower Street in Chester, down by where the ferry was.
Was Flower Street to Ferry Street?
Right on the corner of 2nd Street, where you
The
went down to the
garages,
ferry.
The bridges.
Flower Street would take you right down to the ferry.
Right.
And he was on the corner of 2nd
Yeah.
and Flower Street.
Yeah.
And that was in the 50s.
No, I was thinking
Then he
they
ended
had
up
the
at the steel
Flower
company,
Street.
right? Steel mill?
Then he went to Phoenix Steel.
He was a businessman, I was like,
Upstate, he worked a coal mine, the grandma ran the store.
yeah.
Now, did you own the store, or did you rent the store building? You know,
He rented them.
You rented
He rented
it,
them.
yeah.
Oh, well, they
First
know
of all,
the
he had a
house.
shoe store upstate Pennsylvania. He had a shoe store. He sold Endicott Johnson shoes and.
They're still around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're popped up.
And I think it was Hanover. And there was another name of the shoe out proper at the time. And he used to sell shoes, men's stocking, men's garters, and spats.
Nice.
Huh?
You put it, the white thing you put in your shoe.
The spats is what you put over your shoe. Yeah, sell spats.
Yeah, they should come back.
And then they had, they bought candy and resold candy.
Then from that
Yeah.
that place, when I almost burned them out.
Oh, he was
He almost burnt the
bad.
house down.
Well, you have to tell that.
Yeah, how'd that
Oh, well,
happen?
I think that's good because it's good
Playing
to
with
know
fire.
what to do in that
How
case.
far did it go?
Tell them what happened. How it
Well,
happened. Tell them how you
Well, we
put
had
it
we
out.
had a coal stove in the then you didn't have furnaces or nothing. You had coal heaters run by coal.
stove.
Right.
And then the store the room was, I guess, about the size of this room, and it would go over to the end of the kitchen. That's how big the showroom store was. And he had big shelves up there with shoes all over the place, all kind of shoes, sizes, and everything else.
Yeah, the shoe store.
And in the center of the store, on the one end of it by the door, is where the coal stove was. And the coal stove was out. It was just it wasn't completely out. It was just some embers and ashes laying in there. And behind there, he had a big counter that he used to sit on, and that's where he packaged his stuff and all the merchandise and stuff like that.
You put the fire.
No, it was in the store.
Oh, okay.
It was in the store, and you know, when you had shoes then, you used to get that real thin paper in between the shoes.
Tissue paper, like that.
Well, that's behind the counter is where you had a big, like a Kellogg's cornflakes box, one of the big ones with all the cartons coming in, and that's where you put the trash. And it was cold in the store this one morning, and I'm trying to get the fire out and the stove burning higher, and I'm taking wood, sticks of wood, and I'm lighting the embers there, and I'm running behind there to light the paper bag to keep warm, the box.
How old were you?
6, 7, I don't know. I wasn't that old. And I finally got the fire on. I set the box on fire, and it started blazing. And somebody was seeing smoke coming out of the one window, and they hollered down, "Skeet, your house is on fire!" And I ran up, and my dad seen it, and he went behind that counter, and he grabbed that whole box by the side, and drug it out, and threw it out the open door.
I thought he smothered it.
He tried to smother it, but it was, hey, that box was burning fast. That paper burned like...
Did he come after you next then?
Oh, he got a lot of beatings with the strap.
He burned his hand. It burned his finger right off.
Oh.
They were just lucky.
Were you scared?
Huh?
Were you scared?
You're damn right I was scared.
He knew what he was going to get.
What made you have a candy store?
Then they had a candy store.
At the same place?
No, half a block away. Right, like from here down there to where the entrance to the
Well,
park is there.
Who worked the shoe store? Who waited on the people and measured their feet and stuff?
My mother and dad.
Oh, they both did?
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't work anywhere else except the shoe store at the time?
Well, at the time he was like in between jobs. This was after he came out of the mines.
Okay. Why did he leave the mines?
He didn't like it. It was hard work. It wasn't good pay.
Dangerous.
Then he had to travel so damn far to go to work and come home. So he said, I got to get something better. So he went into business for himself.
Then how did everybody come to Chester? Was that during World War II?
Well, the war broke out. The war broke out, and hey, the money was down here in the shipyards and stuff like that. So he came down here, got a job in the shipyards.
Well, he worked at Baldwin Motion first.
Huh?
Did he work at Baldwin?
No, he worked in Sun Ship. He was a chipper.
Sun Ship. Okay.
Well, my father did too.
Chip slag, welds.
Well, when they weld, they have a gun with like a sharp chisel on it, and that takes the high spots and stuff off it and makes it more level. And then if there's any cracks in there, the welder would have to come back and patch up any where there was holes where there was
How long did he do that?
Huh?
How long did he do that?
Until the war was over.
Oh, okay, that was during the war.
42. I think he came down in 42.
I thought you came down in 1943, the same year we did.
Well, we came down in 43.
Yeah, 43.
I'm talking about when my dad came down.
Yeah, my father came down a year or two.
They stayed in the boarding house.
Yeah.
So then after the war, they had the gas station.
Well, after the war, that's when he went into the gas station. He went into the one up on 15th and Providence after the war was over. And then after that one he closed up or something. I don't know what happened. He sold that one, and he got a job he got the one down there selling Amoco gas.
And then when did he go to the steel mill?
After that.
That was in the late 50s.
What did he do there?
I don't know what he was doing down there then. I think he might have been doing the same thing as he was in the shipyard. He might have been working on the slag pits and stuff like that, or chipping the heads off or the bad pieces of metal in the castings.
He worked for about 20 years there?
He worked quite a while. He retired from there.
And he got the black lung, right?
Yeah.
He got the black lung from the mines.
And my dad did too.
Yeah.
My mother was
and so did his brother, Stanley. That's what killed it, Uncle Stanley. He died. He was only 40-some years old.
Wow.
And
Ann's father.
They died. He died when he was 45. He was young.
He was young. He wasn't 50.
And the mother raised all the kids.